If you try to bite more than you can chew, you quite literally will gain more weight or choke, and you'll also choke on your diet. 95% of diets fail. I want to be that one person that loses the weight and keeps it off. Coach Greg, and have you ever wondered why it's so difficult to lose weight? Well, I'm here to tell you that the set point theory does in fact explain why it's so difficult for you to lose weight. It's true, it's not clickbait, unfortunately. You are predetermined genetically to have a certain weight range that your body wants to be in. Your body doesn't want to be 5% body fat. It also doesn't want to be 95% body fat. And everyone's set point is different. But guess what? You can, in fact, do something about it. You can lower your set point. So if you're walking around, you're overweight or obese, you can, in fact, lower that so that you're not overweight or obese. You want to know how? Well, this is the video to watch. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do this. So before I get into how we're going to fix it, I want to explain to you why it exists. Well, there's three main reasons. The first, obviously, genetics. Were your parents shredded? Were they morbidly obese? Just like in basketball, if you're born 7 feet tall, you're more likely to be able to make it to the NBA than if you're 4 feet tall. Doesn't mean you can if you're 4 feet tall, but it's a lot harder than if you're born 7 feet tall. And not born, I get it, you grow up to be that tall. And just like height is a genetic factor that can make you better at basketball, so is your weight. You were born with a certain pre-programmed amount of weight that your body's going to be in. Certain amount of muscle that's ideal for you, a certain amount of fat that's ideal for you. And if you have great, amazing genetics like Chris and Melissa Bumstead, both Mr. Olympia, Miss Olympia competitors, well, you have a huge advantage over someone else who's born with, well, let's just say, not the best genetics in the world to build muscle. The next, and I'll say most important factor that affects how you're ultimately going to look is your environment. And by environment, I mean diet and exercise. How do you eat and what do you do? If you don't lift weights, why would you think you're going to look like a bodybuilder? If you don't do cardio, are you going to be fit? If you do weights and cardio like Coach Greg, well, chances are you're going to have muscle and be leaner than last time. And the third, which obviously is going to impact everything, are your hormones. Do you have an underactive thyroid, overactive thyroid? Stress hormones, cortisol, ghrelin, leptin, testosterone. Are you on HRT? Not on HRT. If you have higher testosterone levels, it's easier to build muscle. You go on HRT or take steroids, you're likely going to be able to build a lot more muscle than someone who doesn't. Build more muscle, set point goes up. Rather than your body wanting to be 160 pounds, 170 pounds because you have more muscle. And if you have an underactive thyroid and can correct this, your body may want to be leaner. Your BMR or need calorie, the expenditures you burn during the day goes up. You burn more calories, your body wants to be lighter, leaner. So aside from going back in time and choosing different parents, there are things you can do to lower your set point. If you start doing cardio, you will in fact burn off more calories. To lose weight, it's all about calories in, calories out, CICO. So by adding in cardio, you increase the out part of the equation. You burn more calories than you take in, you lose weight. By simply adding in cardio, you are going to burn off more calories, and this can put you in a deficit and allow you to lose weight. And you're thinking, yeah, but if you burn off a lot of calories, won't your body just increase ghrelin, make you more hungry? Yeah, partially, it will in fact do that. You're right. If you thought it's going to make you hungrier, in the long run, it is going to make you a little bit hungrier, but not enough to completely compensate for the total calorie burn that you did. So let's take this example. You burn in an extra 500 calories a day by walking, doing cardio, jogging, cycling, swimming, and so on. Your body will in fact increase hunger levels later on, maybe not right after. If you do a hard bout of cardio, oftentimes it will in fact suppress your appetite. For a bit, for a few hours, when I race on a bike, I'm not really hungry after. Several hours go by, and then I start getting hungry. Then my body makes up for it later in the day or the next day. But not all of those 500 calories are made up for, approximately 50%. So ghrelin, the hunger hormone, will increase, make me a little bit hungrier because the body's saying, hey, you just burn off 500 calories. We need you to eat a little bit more, or else eventually you starve to death. So it's a survival mechanism. The ghrelin hormone is released. Punch you in the face and eat. Keep eating. You're hungry. And it does that to a lesser degree than the entire 500 calories that you burn off. So you will be hungrier enough to eat about half of those calories. So if you burn off 500, you're probably going to eat enough to add in 250. But that leaves 250 calories of deficit that are a result of those calories that you just burnt. That allows you to be in a deficit and lower your set point. So to keep that simple, if you're overweight and you start doing cardio, you're going to have a lower set point. Your body is going to want to make you lighter. Think of it as an evolutionary response to exercise. Think of thousands of years ago. If you were running around 10 hours a day, walking, hunting, gathering, doing all that stuff, and you were obese, it's a lot more weight to carry. It slows you down. If you're 100 pounds overweight, how easy is it going to be to go for a 5-hour walk looking for food? Not very easy. But if you lower your body weight, lower your set point, now you're lighter, easier. You ever seen a marathon? How many of those people look like they weigh 300 pounds? They're all small, thin, because their bodies are lowering their set point so that they can go run and be faster because they're lighter. The lighter you are, the easier it is for your body to carry you around. Does that make sense? Does it make sense to you? You get it? So if you add cardio, you are going to lose weight. Lower your set point. It makes sense even from an evolutionary standpoint. And what else can you do? You can lift weights. You can build muscle. If you lift weights, you're in the gym, strength train, muscles get bigger. Set point goes up. You can now carry more muscle. So if you're 165 pounds and you lift weights for a few years, maybe now you're 175 pounds because you have that added muscle. And with that added muscle, you burn more calories. The muscle is more metabolically active. So you have a faster metabolism. Your BMR is increased. You burn more calories at rest even when you're sleeping, as well as NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Every time you move, you make a video, you fidget, you're burning more calories because you have more muscle on your arms. When you do this, you burn more calories with big arms than small arms. Small tasks that you do, making breakfast, sweeping the floor, walking to the bathroom, you're burning more calories because you are bigger, a bigger human with more muscle. That allows you to burn more calories and helps you to lose weight. And now let's look at your diet. How can you adjust or alter your diet to lower your set point? Well, one thing you can do is increase the thermic effect of food. That is how many calories you burn when digesting nutrients. Food. When you eat protein, there is a greater thermic effect. That means it takes more calories to turn protein into stored body fat than fat into stored body fat. So by eating a high protein diet, you are in fact increasing the out portion of the energy equation. So what should you do? Well, try to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. You could have more, you don't need to, but the more protein you eat, the more calories you're burning to digest that protein. Not only that, you will optimize your ability to build muscle. Studies have shown that by eating 4, maybe even 5 meals a day with protein, you optimize protein synthesis from occurring. Now, the difference is not staggering. If you eat protein 3 times a day, you're probably going to get 95% of the benefits as eating 4 or 5. But if you want optimal, you probably want to eat 5 times a day. If you're a competitive athlete, bodybuilder, you want to maximize performance, 5 meals a day probably best. But for the average person, if you're getting in 3 meals a day with protein, you're probably getting most of the benefits from eating protein throughout the day. What else can you do? Fiber. Fiber has a higher thermic effect. It takes much more energy to break apart the fiber. Also, fiber is a macronutrient with fewer calories than carbohydrates. Fiber can be water soluble or insoluble. They vary in calories, don't want to overwhelm you, but all you need to know is that fiber helps you to be full and to regulate your blood glucose levels. It slows down ghrelin trying to punch you in the face. No, ghrelin, stop it. And so you're full, and if you're full, you eat less. When you're hungry, that is when you're most likely to eat. Think of it. Late at night, before bed, you start getting hungry and you start eating a bag of chips and you can't stop. What about mid-morning? Afternoon lunch. Most of us are not all that hungry at that time. But later on in the day, if you don't eat enough, earlier in the day, you start to get hungry and you can't stop. And that's when the majority of problems happen for most people. So my recommendation, increase the fiber in your diet. For the most part, the average person only eats about 15 grams of fiber a day. Up that to 30 to 40 grams and you will notice a difference in your satiety, your feeling of fullness, and your ability to lose weight. And here's the thing with diet. People think you need to make massive changes to make a difference. It's not. The average person's probably only eating about 100 calories more than they need to. 100 calories a day, that's it. The difference between being overweight, obese, morbidly obese, about 100 calories more than you're supposed to eat on a day. Do you think that if you worked at it, you could somehow cut out 100 calories a day from your diet? You probably could. That creamer in your coffee, could it have been a low-fat creamer? That sugar using, could it be artificial sweetener? Could you be using one recipe a day from my cookbook? Low-calorie, delicious meals to make you feel full? Prevent you from craving other foods? Could you make one change a day to account for 100 calories? If you're in a 100-calorie deficit, guess what? You're going to lose about a pound a month. About 10 pounds of fat in a year from a 100-calorie deficit per day. That's all it takes. And on the other hand, if you're in a 100-calorie surplus, gain about 10 pounds of fat a year. Over the course of 10 years, guess what that is? 100 pounds. So think of it. If you're 50, maybe 100 pounds overweight, all it took was a tiny 100-calorie surplus, compounded over 5 or 10 years, and the result is 50 to 100 pounds overweight. You don't need to make major changes to transform your life. So the next time you think, I've tried everything, I can't lose the weight, it's my genetics, God hates me. It's not God. It's the fact that you don't know what to do. You aren't educated enough. You don't know better. You haven't watched enough of my videos. Studies have shown, meta-analysis, Baby Naked and Gert, more recently, Girls Kitten, shown that the amount of videos you've watched by Coach Greg are directly correlated to increased muscle mass, decrease in body fat. So if you watch 100 videos from Coach Greg, imagine how much easier it is to lose weight. And that's 100. Imagine 500 or 1,000. Unfreaking believable. And I know not everyone has the time to watch all that, but if you watch this video and try what I'm doing and get my freaking cookbook, do you know how easy it is to lose this weight if you do it slowly? The problem is people think it's a freaking sprint and not a marathon. They want to have the before and after by next week. I want to lose 100 pounds 3 months, 50 pounds by summer. I have a wedding in 2 months, I got to do it now. If you try to bite more than you can chew, you quite literally will gain more weight or choke, and you'll also choke on your diet. 95% of diets fail. 95%! I don't like them odds. 19 out of 20 people will lose the weight and gain it back. I want to be that one person that loses the weight and keeps it off. And those people that lose the weight and keep it off, what are they doing? Well, they're much more likely to be lifting weights, have more muscle, increased metabolism. They're also much more likely to be doing cardio, burning off more calories, allowing them to be in a deficit, decreasing their hunger hormones like ghrelin. And also, when you do cardio over and over again for weeks, months, years, you get better at it. You burn more calories in the same length of time. So what once took you an hour to burn 500 calories, you do it in 30 minutes now. Way easier to lose the weight and keep it off when you're in shape. And what about hormones? Well, yes, of course they can make a difference. If you have an underactive thyroid, you don't produce enough testosterone, you go on HRT or you get doctor-prescribed medications to help you, of course that can help. If you're not sleeping, you have insomnia, and you sleep better, decrease cortisol levels, and you eat less, of course it's going to help. I strongly suggest you give my sleep aid a try. I've been using this for weeks now, dramatically improves my sleep. I have doctor-prescribed sleeping medications, and I don't take them anymore. I take this and it works and I sleep better. And the more you sleep, the easier it is to stay on a diet. If you're sleeping, you can't be eating, so I urge you, make sure you're getting quality nights of sleep. Go see your doctor if you're having difficulties. And so with so many fad diets out there, people don't know what to do. They think it's intermittent fasting, eat in a 1 hour window, or maybe it's the keto diet. Well, the diet you need to follow is the forever diet. The one that you can stick to for the rest of your life. Studies have shown that people who can keep it off for a couple of years, they're more likely to keep it off forever. If you can figure out a diet that's sustainable, that is the way you will lose the weight and keep it off forever. That's a diet you want. Strongly suggest you try my Circle diet. Try to get my cookbook. I have a book on weight loss coming out soon. The Circle diet, where I explain in detail everything you need to do to lose weight and keep it off. I'm very excited for this book to come out. Been writing it for several months, close to a year, so look for that book in the near future. And so what diet do I suggest? Well, I think people should eat from all 4 food groups. A balanced diet that makes sense. Low calorie, delicious meals. High volume so that you're full, so that you're not hungry. When you're not hungry, you're much less likely to eat. If you are having hunger pains all the time, your stomach is empty, growling, much more likely to eat. But if you're full, satisfied, eating foods that taste good, imagine just how easy that diet is. It's the diet I follow. Why do you think I can maintain 9% body fat? I wasn't born shredded. My parents aren't ripped. I don't have amazing genetics for being lean. Great genetics for adding muscle, sure. But I work hard. I do a lot of cardio. I race bikes. And I eat healthy from my cookbook. And the weight, I've kept it off. It works. And it can work for you. And although the set point theory is real, it's a real thing. Don't let your genetics dictate how you're going to look. You can make changes. The environment, diet, and exercise is much more important than your genetics. If you exercise and eat healthy, you can make lifelong changes for your health, quality, and quantity of life. So don't give up, and you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to lose all the weight. You just need to lose some. Be the best that you can be. Do the changes, the small changes that you can stick to for the rest of your life. Remember what I said? 100 calories a day for years, compounded over and over. That's what makes a difference. If you went on a 100 calorie deficit diet right now, for 5 years, you lose 50 pounds. You would barely even notice the difference. It's only 100 calories. That's how easy it is. So the next time you give up and you think, I've done yo-yo diets every year and I can't lose the weight, think again. You can lose the weight. You just need the education and the knowledge, the power to be able to lose weight by making the proper choices that you can handle, stick to, maintain for the rest of your life. Highly suggest you get the Circle Diet book. Watch my videos. Ending it here. GregDoucette.com for coaching. Greg Doucette IB Pro. Please watch the boobs. Don't forget hard and lap time supplements, sleepy pills, other things. The cookbook, of course. Get the freaking cookbook. Click the link in the description. Also, training books, coaching plans. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok. And until next time, I am out.